The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC.
The search for the classic winners goes on. I'm Bruce Millington, and with the help of Alistair Down and Justin O'Hanlon, plus Tom Nugent from Paddy Power, we will be looking at what the trials meant, what the red herrings are, what the real gold is, who's going to win the Derby, who's going to win the Oaks. We'll also have a little look to York later this week, plus all the other talking points, and we might even touch upon who's going to end up fronting ITV's racing coverage. But we will start with the Derby. All sorts of shenanigans at Chester last week. US Army Ranger won, just about Port Douglas. Plus then we had Lingfield, where Humphrey Bogart jumped into the Derby picture, albeit the connections don't seem particularly happy about stumping up the 75 grand supplement. So I'm just going to say, Alistair Down, what is your one big takeout from what we've seen last week vis-a-vis the Investec Derby?
I didn't like US Army Ranger at all. It was just... It had all the make and shape of a horse for later in the season. He's obviously... There is, as somebody said today, there's a good horse in there somewhere, but whether you can extract it in the next few weeks or not, frankly, I doubt.
Yeah, I think what someone said this morning is it's not that you dislike US Army Ranger, you just dislike his price, don't you? Justin O'Hanlon, would you be rushing to back US Army Ranger at 5-1 or whatever it is?
I wouldn't be rushing to back any horse in the Derby at the moment.
Something's got to win it, mate.
It does, but pick it. I mean, it's the waters. I thought the waters were muddy going into the beginning of last week. They're now you just cannot see through them at all at the moment after what happened in the last 7 days, including yesterday at Leopardstown. It really, I think it's a very, very difficult race to sort out. With the two at the head of the market, you're dealing with more with hype and promise than you are with anything else. And the Dante looks as though it's going to be it's going to be more of a key trial than probably it nearly ever has been on Thursday.
Well, it often is the key trial. Tom Nugent, how do Paddy Power bet?
So we have Minding in
forget Minding. Forget Minding. She's not going to run in the Derby.
Okay,
all
well,
right?
she's still in our market.
That's just not going to happen. So I don't even want to know what price you are with the run.
Okay, then it's 3-1 midterm. US Army Ranger 5-1. Moonlight Magic and Cloth of Stars are both in at 14s. It's 16-1. Then Massat Foundation and Idaho, and it's 20s bar.
What about Port Douglas?
Port Douglas.
I think you've got him in quite short, haven't you?
Is 20s.
Oh, you're 20s, are you? Okay, fair enough.
I'll throw one in here, Tom. What about Deauville?
Deauville is 20s also.
Okay, right. So then, none of us seem to have a clue. Well, I've got a clue. I've got a clue because I think Port Douglas ran a really good race. I think that, he was giving US Army Ranger £4. He looked the better stayer. I think 20-1's an absolutely absurd price. So I'm going to give the first definite view on the Derby. Alistair, give us the second.
I'm kind of sorry to be boring, but I'm with Justin. I wouldn't back anything in the Derby at the moment. We'll wait for the Dante.
All right, if you had a free £20 bet now and you had to place it on horse in the Derby, who would you back?
If I had a free £20 bet, I'd probably put it on mid-term.
Why?
I think there's been plenty to like about both performances. The yard is a yard that people have been trying to write off busily for the last couple of years, but is still run by a genius in Sir Michael Stout. The yard is flying. And I think he'd probably win the Dante and be middling to unbackable for the Derby.
Okay.
So that would be my 3-1 for 20 quid now.
All right, well, we're getting somewhere. Now, Justin, your free €20 bet.
Well, from what I'm hearing, I suppose every man claims to have their man at Ballydoyle who's an impeccable source, but from what I'm hearing is that I wouldn't be at all surprised if Deauville turns out to be possibly their main hope for the Derby come whatever it is, June, whatever it is. He runs in the Dante on Thursday. I've actually had a little bit of a little few quid on a Paddy Power special this morning, plugging our sponsors. They're going 40-1 Deauville to win the Dante and the Derby. So just a little bit of an interest in that. He could well, his price could well shorten up considerably after Thursday.
And Justin, do you hear that he's flying or going well, or what do you hear?
I've heard that he's going well.
Right.
Did we learn anything, or does Godolphin now have this kind of two-pronged Derby team in terms of Moonlight Magic and Cloth of Stars? Justin, what did you make of those two yesterday?
I didn't see Cloth of Stars. Impressed enough with Moonlight Magic. Is actually a horse I've always liked since I saw him win on his debut in a Cork Maiden last autumn. Went on to win a listed race when I think he probably surprised him a little bit when he won the listed over 9 furlongs at Leopardstown last back end. Forget his first run on heavy ground. He looked far more like it yesterday. Bulger was making sort of very positive comparisons between him and St. Jovite, who won the same race, of course, en route to finishing second at Epsom. I think he's a little bit of a different horse. I think Moonlight Magic is a little bit speedier than St. Jovite, who was just an out-and-out galloper. But no, he's a horse I like a lot. I think about 12 and 14 to 1 represents his chance, and he'd be one I probably would like to have on my side as an each-way bet. At Epsom.
Okay, Alistair.
If he handles the track, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Alistair, Richard Hannon had a couple of trial winners. I don't normally associate that yard with Derby horses. Viren's Army in the D Stakes and Humphrey Bogart at Lingfield. 2 questions here. One, have either of them got any chance in the Derby? And I think we have to bear in mind, it doesn't look anything like a vintage Derby. And 2, Richard Hannon's saying that there should be more win and you're in races. He's slightly peaked that he has to stump up, or the connections have to stump up 75 grand to run. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I get this win and you're in set up, but of course Derby entries are made incredibly early. I mean, like they're in utero still when they kind of put in the race. Do these horses have chances at Epsom? I quite liked Humphrey Bogart in a funny way, but 75 grand is a lot for the owners to stump up. You talk about you don't normally associate Richard Hannon with middle distance horses. Increasingly, of course, that is the road down which they will go, particularly on the Qatar front. 10 furlong and up. 10 furlong horses principally for them, but mile and a half horses as well. I think that it will be a change of emphasis in that yard.
OK, and Tom Nugent, here's a question for you. If this gene test hadn't taken place and Hugo Palmer and the connections of Galileo Gold had decided they were going to go for the Guineas Derby double, what price do you think Galileo Gold would be by now?
Well, the traders have crunched the numbers and they've come up with 5 to 1.
5 to 1, yeah. So I think you could have got a bit of 12s, couldn't you, after the Guineas? But the way the race is, I'm reluctant to use the phrase falling apart, but it's certainly, as Justin said, not looking any clearer. It does make you wonder whether they're going to look at the final field, doesn't it, Justin, and think, we should have gone for this, shouldn't we?
Possibly, yeah. I think you're right. I think perhaps the connections to Galileo Gold might think that as well. But it's really in a bad year. It's very, very difficult to see Viren's Army or Humphrey Bogart being good enough. The D Stakes form is Houses of Parliament was only beaten a neck. So he's well down the pecking order of the colts of Ballydoyle, and the same with the one they ran on Saturday, who barks, quite frankly.
Okay, fair enough.
So we
won't worry about them. Alistair, where do you stand on this gene test? Being a progressive modernist like you are, and B, do you think that it's the wrong thing to do really with this?
Well, I'm all for any technical aids towards understanding horses more than we do already, and at the end of the day we don't understand much more about them in many ways than we did 150 years ago. I went to see Milton Bradley last week. I don't think he's scoped or blood tested a horse since the Suez crisis, and he was training then. To him, he's a stockman, he's a farmer, he knows when they're right and when they're wrong. But I think all new technology is moving the whole world outside thoroughbred racing forward, so why shouldn't it cut into thoroughbred racing and do so? We'd be miles ahead of other sports on testing for drugs, etc., for donkey's years. The Olympic movement learnt from British racing, basically. So I'd be doubtful whether this test was conclusive in Hugo Palmer's mind about whether you go for the Derby or not. He would have an extremely shrewd idea, because I think he's a very clever operator and really smart at his trade. He'd have had an idea himself in his mind, and maybe this test confirmed it 5% more, but I wouldn't think more than that.
OK, well, I wish you'd embrace new technology to send your bloody copy over on time. But anyway, I'm glad you're such a fan of new technology. Tom,
I'm more of a fan you give me credit for, but I'm not going to change your mind after all these years.
Tom Nugent, final word from you. Who wins the Derby?
Who wins the Derby? I quite liked Clot the Stars in the pre-Grey Fool. I was absolutely delighted to see Mr. Ward giving it the big up in the paper this morning as well. So an each way bet at 14s maybe.
OK, that's the Derby. The Oaks is next.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
OK, Tom Nugent, what are Paddy Power's Oaks prices as things stand?
So we're minding 4 to 5 at the top. Somi Dars next in at 6s. Ballydoyle 8 to 1. Evensong 14s. And at 16s, Alice Springs, Turret Rocks, Fidilla, and Somehow. And it's 20s bar.
Alistair, is this a short debate? If Mining turns up in good shape, she wins?
No, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I do like her very much, as everyone else does. I put up Turret Rocks on one of these postcasts at the end of last year for the Oaks, and I think she remains pretty good value at around 25 to 1. I just like everything about her in terms of being a middle distance. A filly will come into her own over a mile and a half.
She's going Irish 1,000 guineas, isn't she?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. Mr. Bolger, whenever I speak to Mr. Bolger, I get a half-hour lecture on the perils of tobacco and alcohol.
Blimey,
I always lose.
You think he'd realise by now there's one person he's not going to convert, it's you.
He never stops trying.
Really?
Yeah, he's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Relentless.
Well, I mean, that's incredible because, that's one battle.
Tony O'Hare gets it all the time as well.
Does he really?
Oh, he does, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad he still talks to us in some way, shape or form then.
Oh, yes. He doesn't talk to us, he lectures us. There's a difference.
Right, OK. What about you, Justin? What's your Oaks view?
I'm sort of half agreeing with Alistair about Turret Rocks. I think she will improve over a mile and a half. But I mean, if Minding turns up, she wins, and she will turn up.
Yeah, and this Derby thing's dead in the water, isn't it?
Well, you said it was a non-runner from day one.
I'm backtracking a bit. No, no. I mean, I don't think Aidan's ever said that Mining's going to run in the Derby. I mean, the point is, he's going to run some colts in there. What if she beats them?
Where did this all come from?
I think one of the odds compilers, decided to chuck her in there. I don't know, as a little bit of...
He probably said something like she'll take on the Colts at some stage, and someone blew it up.
Yeah, well, that'll be long... Oh, Shanty, won't it? Or wherever the Arc is this year.
Yeah.
OK, so you're going Turret Rocks as well, are you, Justin?
No, I think Minding will win half the track if she turns up, and she will turn up.
OK, what do we make of So Me Dar? Alistair?
Not much, because we'll find out more this week, won't we?
Well, we've seen bits and pieces,
and in the right hands... I don't know. I think they're so opaque at the moment, that some of the classic pictures. Right, Minding turns up, wins. You've been talking about the Derby. Everyone's been talking about it being a poor year. We kind of hear that. We heard that last year, funnily enough, and it turned out to be anything but. And the Derby hasn't got to be a great champions race every year. You could name all sorts of things like Chris Kin and so on and so forth. You'd reel off 6 in the last 25 years that couldn't win an argument on Blackpool Beach.
You never really know with the Derby how good it is until the end of the year, do you?
No, I mean,
That's exactly right,
the old cliche is never such thing as a bad Derby. Well, there are Derbies that are just plain average.
Yeah, no question about it. Okie dokie, right, anything else catch your eye last week? Let's get a horse for the horse tracker from each. There's plenty of action all over the place, Alistair.
The two that caught my eye last week, I've been with Don't Touch of Richard Fahey's from before he ran at Newcastle last May in his first Euro race. I was lucky enough to be told he was OK.
That cat's out of the bag, isn't it, mate?
Well, but but he just keeps winning by not much. And you say the cat's out of the bag. We don't know how good he is, and I don't think they know at Richard Fahey's how good he is.
So persevere with him, yeah?
Well, I think you've got to.
It's not a question of persevering. It's keep the faith.
I've been to several weddings, and the funeral is doubtless around the corner. The other one I really like, and this would be more up Justin Street, you wouldn't normally look to a 1 mile 7 furlong maiden 5-year-old winner at Wexford, but Dior, D-E-O-R, ridden by Nina Carberry for John Kiley. It's a combination from heaven. Won really well at the weekend, and a horse who's got a bit of ability, Justin. I think I don't know where they're going to go with it, but
he's in at Roscommon tonight.
Is he now
under a mandatory penalty?
Oh, a mandatory one.
in a 1.5-mile handicap.
But
What, do you have voluntary penalties now?
Mandatory.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, as opposed to what?
I just think he's
Well,
got a
there's
race
the
in
mandatory
him.
5. Hasn't been
All
reassessed
right.
yet.
Justin, would he have a race in him further down the line, a decent race?
I think they think the sun, moon, and stars of this horse at
Yeah.
one stage.
Yeah.
But he's a bit soft. He's probably has been shown to be a bit soft, and he's
Right.
certainly been a very soft horse at Wexford on Saturday. Rocked the world. So tonight he'd be doing well to win under a mandatory penalty tonight, because it looks a half decent contest.
Right, cross it off my list.
No,
to
no,
follow.
no,
No,
no.
don't
Give him a chance tonight.
Wait for a couple of hours.
Coming in, Justin. What's your one?
Well, there was a 2-year-old maiden at Leopardstown yesterday, the first race on the card, and it was only an auction maiden, but I had a look at them the parade week before, and they looked a really, really nice bunch, and there were plenty of them fancied. And the way Joseph's Cold Lundy came out and beat them was pretty impressive. He could maybe give Joseph a Royal Ascot winner in his first month as a trainer.
That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Was it a nice day there yesterday? It looked lovely, Justin.
It was absolutely gorgeous. Pity we had to be
Beautiful.
stuck inside.
How nice. Okay, and Tom Nugent, what's your eye catcher for us?
I wasn't in Leopardstown yesterday now, but I quite like the look of Now or Never in the Guineas trial. I'd be interested. Justin, were you there? Did you hear anything about
I
her?
was. She was really impressive.
She was unbelievably impressive, wasn't she? I mean, I suppose the only negative there is the quality of opposition, but she was phenomenal, wasn't she?
But the way she quickened past them now off that bend, it takes a good filly to quicken past horses out that home bend.
Yeah, it looks like she's come on a good bit for her last run as well.
Yeah. The only thing is, if it came up very quick at the Curragh, you'd be a bit concerned. But if it's good ground, she'll take a bit of beating.
Fascinating to
Well,
see
depends what
Fallon
Tom
back in the
Brady
big time, isn't it, eh?
Yeah, it adds hugely to the mix. You know, he still has this sort of charisma about him, and the punters have always liked him on their side when he's on their side.
Okay, stack a great race, and again this week, let's have a look at that.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Bruce Millington, Alistair Down, Justin O'Hanlon, and from Paddy Power, Tom Nugent. We've looked back on the weekend. We're going to look ahead to some really interesting midweek stuff at York, many people's favourite racecourse of all. 3 days of the May Festival get underway on Wednesday. We've got the Duke of York and the Musidora on Wednesday, and obviously So Me Dar. We'll get a clearer idea of her Oaks credentials after that. On Thursday, the big races, the Dante, Northlight, Motivator, Authorised and Golden Horn have all won this en route to Derby Glory, and we will be expecting midterm the favourite to state his case in a clear-cut way. Tom, any races priced up for us?
Yeah, so we've got the Middleton and the Dante on the Thursday.
Give us a
So we
quick
can run
blast
through
of
those.
Dante.
Dante Stakes, midterm is in 11 to 10 at the top, then it's Foundation at 7 to 2, Deauville 5s, Wings of Desire at 9 to 1, Black Sea at 10s, and it's 12s bar.
Alistair, talk to me about Foundation. Is it just possible he's not that good?
Quite possible. I'm very interested in Justin's Deauville strand for the Dante, because he's a guy who thinks about the game and knows a few things. Now that has been thrown in the mix, I see it as a midterm Deauville battle, I think.
Okay, Justin, will you? I mean, you've lumped on this 40 to 1 Dante Derby double. So what are you expecting from Deauville? Obviously, you want him to win after the track, but can he definitely trouble midterm?
Well, midterm is a bit of a conundrum. This is obviously midterm's by far his biggest test to date, and if he comes through it, he's a worthy favourite for the Derby. But what I'm hearing about Deauville has been very positive. I don't think there'll be any difficulty with him not being ready first time up. He won his first 2 races last season. His run against Foundation at Newmarket, where he stayed all the way to the line, would certainly have given you plenty of encouragement that he's a 1.5 mile horse this year. He's, I'm obviously very interested in him now, and he'll give midterm at the very least a very stern test.
Have you ever been to Deauville, Justin?
I have not.
Well, if that bet wins, you need to get yourself over there in August, mate.
I might buy a villa over there.
Take a suitcase of money, because a cappuccino and a croissant's about €60, Justin. You won't like that, mate.
Well, I'm planning to go to the Breeders' Cup, so I don't suppose I can do both.
No, you certainly can't.
Right, okay.
They charge
we'll
like
have to wait
Wounded
for another year
Rhino
or
in Deauville.
Yeah, but you can claim it. It's all right. It's a gravy train. Everyone knows that. Okay.
I was on the gravy train when it was being pulled by Stevenson's rocket, mate.
Let's have a look at the Middleton Stakes. Tom, how are you betting there?
So Journey is the 5-2 favourite. Arabian Queen then 3-1. Beautiful Romance 9-2. Lady of Dubai 6-1, and it's 7-1 bar.
Okay, chaps, anything there?
No views on the Middleton Stakes. I'm interested in the Duke of York, the sprint. I think it's got some fascinating.
Oh yeah, we've got the old clipper, haven't we? So we've got that on the Wednesday then. Tom, how are you betting there?
We don't have any betting. We just got the Yorkshire Cup priced up at the moment. Is the only other one we've got priced up.
Who's going to win that though, Alistair?
Well, I think this is the year of Twilight Sun. Obviously, Magical Memory is favourite. Twilight Sun available at about 9-2. I think this horse, physically and everything, you thought this would be the year for him. I think a lot of Twilight Sun.
OK, and the last race we'll look at before we sign off is the Yorkshire Cup on Friday. Tom, do the honours.
Bondi Beach 11-8 Fav, Flying Officer 130, Second Step 7-2, Clever Cookie 11-2, and 12's bar.
Alistair?
I'm fond of Clever Cookie, and I think 7-1, that sort of price is not bad.
Justin, how do you think Bondi Beach will go over long distances this season?
Well, I think he's the only horse that can hold a candle to Order of St George, and I'd expect him, if he's going to be a Gold Cup horse or going to be a threat to Order of St George this year, he will need to win that comfortably, and he probably will. I
keep meaning to have a massive bet on Order of St George and keep forgetting. I guess by the time I come around to it, it'll be about 4-6, won't it?
Well, I tell you, just wait till you see him going out of the start, because he's a horse who sweats. He really is a free sweater. He'll be a wash going to the start in the Gold Cup, and you might get 5-1.
OK. Now then, we did say we were going to touch upon the ITV racing anchor, and Paddy Power are betting on it. So what's the latest state of play there, Tom?
So as I look at it, it's 4-6 Fav is Mark Pugac to be the ITV racing team lead anchor. Then it's Ed Chamberlain at 6-4, Ollie Bell 5-1, Nick Luck 8, and Matt Chapman is 12-1.
You forgetting someone?
That's all I've got in front of me at the moment.
How can Alistair not be quoted there?
Because I haven't talked to them, seen them, and I'm too old, fat, and basically a bit dithery these days. I think it's a really strong field. Pugac, Chamberlain, Ollie Bell, these are all really strong people. I do hope they get a role for Matt Chapman in there too.
And who would you like to see there, Justin?
I couldn't care less.
You couldn't care less? Brilliant. Why
Good
not?
Boy.
I watch Racing UK for my UK racing. I don't watch Channel 4 racing.
All right then, fair enough. What about you, Tom? Have you got a view, or do you share Justin's apathy?
I'd like to see Matt getting in there somehow.
Who? Matt Chapman?
Matt Chapman.
Yeah, me too. He's good fun. He
just needs someone to direct him, Bruce. I mean, it's the same in the old days that McCurrick needed somebody in his ear to say "shut up." Not that he ever listened, but there you are. But
yeah, but he brings a bit of fun in there, and he's also got a good journalistic edge.
He'd be a huge asset. Just returning very briefly to York and all the handicaps. Don't bet in the York handicaps without having James Pyman's piece from last week, which was a fantastic piece of research on what type of horses win the York handicaps and ages, weight ranges, ratings, etc. It was a fabulous
I'll
piece
bung that on the website then, Alistair, in case people can't get hold of it. OK, one last question for you each. Give us a horse to back at York this week. Alistair, will stick with you.
I'm Twilight Sun.
Justin?
I was going to say Deauville, but we didn't mention the Musador, I don't think, did we?
We didn't, mate, so away you go.
The Guineas form gets a good run here with Fireglow, who was staying on nicely at the end of the 1,000 Guineas. Obviously, she's up against the Somi Dar, and the Ballydale filly there, best in the world, isn't too bad either. I think that could be a significant trial. I think Fireglow could shorten up for the Oaks after Wednesday.
All right, and Tom Nugent, who's your York fancy?
Somi Dar to beat Fireglow. You can do the forecast.
Okey-doke. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed, chaps. Back on Friday, where we'll be having a good look ahead at the weekend, which is headed by the Lockinge at Newbury.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.